Representative Gunther moves that House File 707 be referred to the General Register. Representative Gunther, I don't know, Representative Gunther, do you want to deal with some of the amendments right now, or do you want to present the bill?
Well, I'll deal with the A14 amendment, which basically is a housekeeping amendment, allows the staff to make any corrections necessary, and kind of common to most bills.
Okay, Representative Gunther moves the A14 amendment. Is there any discussion to the A14 amendment? See no discussion, all in favor of the A14 amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails, the A14 amendment is adopted. And then Representative Erdahl, I believe you have an amendment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move the A15 amendment.
Representative Erdahl moves the A15 amendment. Representative Erdahl, please explain the amendment.
I'll do that. And the A17, I don't believe we will be offering this.
All right.
This takes,
The A17-328.
right.
All right, that won't be offered. Okay, Representative Erdahl moves the A15 amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it was brought to our attention, actually, when we had our walkthrough on the legacy amendment earlier this week, that actually there had been something that we probably should have included and didn't, and that was some funding for the state archaeologist. I was contacted by the Department of Administration, who asked if we could remedy that, and that's what this amendment does. This is for burial of human bones that are discovered as in road construction or through erosion or whatever. And these bones, presently, of about 100 people, are stored at Hamlin University. And they would like to dispose of them in a proper manner, I mean, through burial or whatever. And so the Department of Administration has requested through the, for their department, for the state archaeologist, that $107,000 be appropriated from the Legacy Fund for that purpose. And so we are taking it from what seemed like a likely source, the funding of the Minnesota Historical Society, to take care of this particular situation, and that is what it does. Just because you might wonder, what are you going to do with $107,000 for 100 collections of human bones? The OSA staff, that's the Office of the State Archaeologist, $5,000. Contract services, $44,000. Equipment, fees, lab supplies and fees, $11,500. DNA testing at $2,500 each, $25,000. C14 testing at $700 each, $7,000. Reburial fees, $15,000 for a total of $107,500. That is my amendment.
Will there be any books written about the amendment?
Mr. Chairman, I could pretty much guarantee that there will be a book written about that amendment and a lot of other things that happened around here.
All right.
The names will be changed to protect the guilty.
Discussion on the A15 amendment. Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Representative Erdahl, thank you. I love the fact that you pay attention to these issues, and I appreciate that. But my question is, I'm not that familiar with the legacy funds and all that. I've never served on the committee, but I do understand that we're supposed to not be supplanting other money. So my question to you is this something that is normally funded through, how do we usually do this? And, you know, is this something that doing it under the legacy fund, is that going to be something that you feel is justifiable, given that we're supposed to be supplementing, not supplanting?
Representative Erdahl.
Mr. Chairman and Representative Liebling, well, first of all, we have funded the state archaeologist for things before in the past with legacy funding. So there's a precedent of money going to the state archaeologist. And in this case, you know, these bones, I don't know how to describe, one assemblage of bones, one person who is in Hamlin, was found in they believe was buried in 1856. So she's still sitting in Hamlin. I don't know in the past what's been happening to these bones. I know that there are 100 bones of 100 people in a drawer at Hamlin, and it would be proper to do something with them. And in terms of supplanting or supplementing, again, beyond that, I don't know what was happening with those bones, but nothing's happened for a heck of a long time.
Representative Liebling?
Mr. Chair, thank you. I just have one other question for Representative Erdahl. So are these rich dead people? Thank you, Mr. Chair. You don't have to answer that.
Representative Hausman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wondered how the bill's author feels about taking it from the Historical Society. Do you have a point of view?
Author,
Mr.
Chair Gunther.
Representative Hausman, the Historical Society kind of indicated they wish we'd find another home to do this, and we had to give the money to the Department of Administration, who the state archaeologist works through, and they are an account of ours. They do watch some of the things that we have, oversee some of our accounts. So we just simply took the money from the Historical Society, and we paid it to the Department of Administration for taking care of the state archaeologists. And by the way, I think that one person, they did find relatives, great-grandkids or somebody,
They did.
of that person that he was talking about, and they were thrilled. So that makes it kind of worth it almost by itself.
Any other discussion to the bill? Or excuse me, to the amendment?
Pretty quick.
Seeing none, all in favor of the A15 amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion prevails, the A15 amendment is adopted. Are there any other amendments? All right, discussion to the bill. Representative Liebling.
Mr. Chair, I just have a question about the amendment that we passed earlier, the A14, because I didn't have it in my hands at the time, and it was described as being just
The NEBO,
technical,
yeah.
I think, and as I'm looking at it, I just wondered if it doesn't, I haven't matched it up with the bill, but it doesn't look like it's just correcting things, and I wonder if it was described
allows the
correctly.
nonpartisan staff to make corrections on the bill when the thing is over. So if there is an error we find later, they then have permission to make those corrections.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Well, yeah, Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Gunther. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's what the bill, what the amendment does, at least not the one that's in my hand, unless I'm just really misunderstanding something here.
Mr. Walls, welcome to the committee.
Mr. Chair, Representative Liebling, is your question to the dollar amount change or to other changes within the amendment?
Representative Liebling.
Well, Mr. Chair, just, are we all looking at the same amendment? It's the A14. That's the one we're talking about, right?
A14.
Yes.
Yeah, so the A14 amendment, so it has things, so it doesn't say anything about allowing anything to be corrected. It just, it has some, let me just take a look at one of the lines here. So, for example, it has, on line 1.5 of the amendment, it says, page 71, line 20 of the bill, delete Springboard for the Arts and insert the State Agricultural Society and the City of Savage. So those aren't the kinds of things that usually see an amendment that's just authorizing corrections to be made.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Walls.
Representative Liebling, my understanding of that language change was that the Springboard for the Arts was going to be the recipient which would administer the grant, and they did not wish to be, so the grantee brought forward another organization that will perform that function.
Okay, well,
So,
Mr.
yeah,
Chair, thank you.
Representative Liebling.
I'm not debating any of the substance of the amendment. I just was curious because it didn't seem to be as it was described. It's making changes to the bill, but it's not just authorizing the staff to make technical corrections, as I was sort of understanding, but
I think you're
know.
saying, Representative Liebling, that there are technical corrections in the amendment as opposed to language authorizing the staff to make technical
well,
corrections.
Mr. Chair, that appears to be what it is. I mean, I wouldn't know from this that they are technical. I guess that's what is being explained, that these are considered technical. But it isn't as it was described to us, which was the bill authorizes I guess I misunderstood. When we talk about it like that, it's sometimes we have, say, a reviser's instruction, and I was understanding it was more like that. But that's all. If it is what it was intended to be, then I'm fine with it.
Sure, and if you have some other questions about any of the items on them, feel free to ask Representative Liebling.
I think I might have misspoke. It's corrections that have been made as well as.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, other discussion to House File 707. Representative Wagenius.
You know my concern with this bill, Representative Gunther.
I certainly do, and I'm certainly looking into ways that we can help get that taken care of. I know wellhead protection is very important to you, and I know that by taking money and moving around money in the clean water for buffers and for the governor's CREP proposal is not something that I dreamed up that I wanted to have as a thing I wanted to do, but it's something that I thought was very necessary and is maximizing the amount of money we can use in the future for CREP and other very worthwhile programs. And wellhead protection, I will work on that in the future, I promise.
Representative Wagenius.
Well, Representative Gunther and I have shared concerns about this portion of this bill with the drinking water. At least, or over $6 million was taken out of drinking water protection. Some people say it's more, but that doesn't matter. It's still $6 million, over $6 million. And of course, the problem here is the drinking water problems are mainly in districts on the other side of the aisle. So I find that interesting. But I do want to say, Representative Gunther, taking this money, drinking water money out of legacy was not the governor's proposal. The governor proposed funding CREP with bonding money. He proposed $30 million for bonding. And so I think it's a little, we have to be a little careful about how we characterize the governor's position here.
Other discussion, Representative Hausman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the thing that surprises me, I don't serve on these committees either, so I just, as I was preparing for this evening, began to do some reading. And I don't know if the Outdoor Heritage Council and the Clean Water Council are even in the audience, but I remember just a few years ago when we made little tweaks to their recommendations, and oh my gosh, we almost started World War III. And these groups have been so strangely quiet that I have not heard from anyone. So for some reason, they've done their, all those groups met and did all their research and studying and maybe visiting, I don't know, and made their recommendations, and they're fairly significant changes here. So we do CREP and others at their expense. And I wonder what it says to them when they start their work this next year. I mean, have we started down a path where it's going to be hard for them to know how much time to put into it?
Representative Gunther.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Hausman, I was in fear and trembling when I went to see him afterwards. I tried to do anything I could to make it better for them, but it was amazing to me how they said, we want to do it, we want to do it all now, we want the 5% and everything taken care of all at once, so we have it behind us. And I was very grateful, And I appreciated both the Clean Water Council and the Sarge Sams in how understanding they were. We did get a fairly substantial hit on the governor's prep program because the federal government is leveraging that money, and it's very important for erosion and other things that happen in greater Minnesota. So I think I appreciate what both those organizations did, and they were very understanding. And I've heard what you said, that's why I was a little bit worried about it. But they were, maybe they were nice to a person that started this committee the first time. You know, I've never been on a legacy committee, and I think they were trying to make it maybe easy on a rookie.
Other discussion? Seeing no discussion, Representative Gunther, would you like to make some closing comments?
I would appreciate your vote, and I would renew my motion to have House File 707 be passed and sent to the House floor as amended.
All right, Representative Gunther renews his motion that House File 707, as amended, be referred to the General Register. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. House File 707, as amended, is referred to the General Register.